I didn't know anything about clean energy. That's reality. And so then I started to kind of put together a plan, and together with a law firm called by the name of P&L Gates, started to talk to people in the solar business, in the clean energy business, and about close to a year, we kind of came out with a white paper on how to finance a clean energy project. Put the lending guideline in place, got the bank to agree, and in Q1 2010, we were able to get the bank to allocate $300 million to lend to clean energy space. And we started to look at deals and start to finance all of these deals. And by, let's say, January of this year, we have financed roughly about 12 megawatts. And included in these 12 megawatts included, we did the 2 megawatts in Gainesville, Florida. And that was a pretty challenging project. We were the permanent financing partner. We partnered up with U.S. Bank as a tax equity deal. But probably one of the most challenging deals that we completed was the one in Sacramento on the Depot project.
You just got to...
That's right. It's a 3 megawatts. That's right. The project was, was very challenging. Number one, it's a Superfund site. And so when anything that has this thing called Superfund or contaminated site, such as, Aerojet, people or most banks just don't want to fund. And so, it took a while, but, we finally came together and we got the project funded and got it built. And so now what we have been doing is, so that's the fun thing. Although it nearly got me fired because it took so long to close the deal. It took about 9 months. But
were people waiting to push the button?
it's one of those things where, so I've been told, yeah, the permits were going to come, and then so I told my chairman, yeah, it's coming. And, every single month, it's like, is it done? Is it done? Is it done? But these projects are very complex, and so you can't cut corners. You got to do it right. And we finally did it. We are now looking at doing tax equity investments on the right deal. So then there will be opportunities whereby we'll be sitting on the other side as a tax equity investor, and on this side of the table as a debt provider. And so we're teaming up with a number of developers, such as Donnie back there, a friend of mine, and a lot of folks with a lot of money coming from Asia that want to develop projects. And so what we're doing is, so this year, we have gotten a commitment from the bank that if we have enough projects, we got about $500 million to deploy. And so the challenge for us is to find the right bankers to finance and look at these deals, because these are very complex deals. And you got a typical, and I'm sure you've been through it, you got a typical financing structure that you got loan docs that might be, I don't know, a couple hundred pages. You got these solar projects that could go up to 700 pages of documents. So, you got site control. The site controls alone, will drive you crazy. In the traditional, very quickly, so I won't take so much time, but I think this is a very important point for all of you that want to get into finance. Is in the old school of financing from a banker perspective is when you lend money, you want to perfect your, the liens on your assets, so that when you get in a default situation, you can go in, foreclose, and sell and collect the money. In a situation whereby you got a contaminated site, if you are going to go in and have the deed recorded in order to perfect your lien, then you take all of the potential liabilities that come with it. But if you don't do that, you're not going to have your lien perfected. So when in a default situation, you get kicked out. So how do you get your lien perfected or indirectly so that at default you won't get kicked out, but that you're not gonna, take on, potential liabilities. And so, these are the kind of things that, even when you talk to lawyers, these are very new concepts. How do you, and then, so you have to almost go up to the lawyers that have done these kind of deals and say, there are ways of doing it. And, even the lawyers get scared, but I, for one, it's not the kind of person that when a lawyer says, this cannot be done, then you kind of stop there. I mean, you gotta dig deeper and says, how could you structure this thing so that from a legal perspective, you are doing your fiduciary responsibility to protect the bank, but at the same time, you are pushing it to that so that things will get changed. It's always easy to say no to things. And my personality is if I think like that, I would be still in Vietnam. I would be here. That's just sort of like the background.
Great. Mark? My name is Mark Raffield. I come from Wells Fargo Bank. I'm an expert in government-supported program called SBA program, Small Business Administration Program. I'm here to share my insight and expertise in SBA loan program. There are several loan programs that I think would help all industries, including clean tech industries, from a stage beyond R&D stage to startup stage, all the way to a very mature stage. My background is I've done every aspect of SBA financing. I started working for my bank about 17 years ago as an underwriter or credit analyst, somebody who reviews the application package, tax returns, business plan, and I'm the one who would recommend for approval or decline. And I eventually became a underwriting department manager thereafter. And so I've done underwriting and credit for about 5-6 years. Then for the past 11 years, I've used that expertise to help customers directly. I would meet the customers, loan applicants, and advise them about how to get financing, from startup to asset purchase, real estate equipment to expansion and so forth, even business acquisition financing. So you reach a point where you start the clean tech company and you want to retire as a millionaire and sell your company. That's where I can come in and help you with the business acquisition, business sale financing. So I think I can share my insight in the SBA programs for your group. I've personally looked at about 7,000 SBA loan applications in my career, and personally funded about $300 million in SBA financing in my career. So I'm really excited to be here. I would love to be a resource and be able to answer all questions about SBA financing. In terms of my involvement in helping clean tech companies, over the last couple of years, I've seen trends actually. I've seen more and more companies asking for financing of, for example, a big distribution center down in the Bay Area with a 40,000 square foot warehouse. Or something they want to buy solar panels, and they want to install them to save electricity. And as a traditional banker, we're not used to seeing that kind of request, so we view it as a fixed asset purchase. And maybe even 2 years ago, we would say, oh boy, solar panel, how long can they last? And we're always thinking about how do we, what kind of term do we set? Is it 3 years, like a computer? Maybe 5 years, like computers? After 5 years, you got to replace it. But we're seeing that these things last longer. And over the last 6 months, they're saying that we can finance 10-year term on solar panels. And we treat them like equipment. And Wells Fargo SBA, we provide 100% financing for solar panels. So that's a trend. We are really aggressive when it comes to things like that. And more recently, I've helped companies, a successful company, energy company, purchase a larger building because they're growing. And that's where SBA financing come into play. High leverage, 90% financing under very reasonable term. And it doesn't take 9 months to close. It takes less than 30 days to close. And I happen to have brought a client of mine, Lewis, here, and can talk about his experience and about himself in a few minutes.